this is a little supplemental video if you wanted to do a little bit more with your text, all right? So obviously, we learned a couple of these controls down here to control the overall of your entire picture, right? The levels and color balance and all that. But let's say you just want to do a couple of tricks to the individual text here. So I made 3 different versions of this text just so you could see some of the differences to them. One of the things you can do is just change the layer's properties. So here it says normal, right? So that just means it's a normal old layer. But like this is my white layer here. If I change normal and I say multiply, it disappears, right? Because it's making that white invisible. If I change it to darken, it also disappears. So all of these are going to make that disappear. If I go to lighten here, I can lighten the white a little bit. I can go to screen. Not a lot of things are changing here. You can see color dodge. You can see a little bit of that color that comes through here. A nice one is difference. There you go. So it's changing like the color opposites of that particular color. You know, divide also makes it disappear. So white is pretty standard. But if you wanted to do something to make that stand out from the background, what you could do is this. I'm going to double click on the gray part of the layer over here. And it's going to bring up the layer style. All right. So what this is going to let me do is I'm going to do some different effects here. So like I can bevel and emboss if I click this. See the way it changes the properties of that here. I can do stroke. I can stroke it with a different color. That stroke is sort of like Illustrator stroke. Remember that? Inner shadow. You can see it makes it look sort of like 3D, like it's squishy and it's like you could rub your fingers on it. It has sort of a texture. We've got inner glow, which you don't see very much on the white. I see a satin finish, which makes it look almost like the gray down below, but it has sort of like a ribbony of satin color in there. Color overlay. You can see the gray is what I'm overlaying on top of that color, so it looks gray. But you can change this color to different things here. I have a gradient overlay, and then outer glow makes it a little fuzzier. Then I have this thing called drop shadow, which this really helps when you have light on dark letters. That drop shadow, see, I love the drop shadow. It really gives it presence like that, right? And it also makes the letters feel like they're floating off of, makes them feel like they're floating off of the page just a little bit like that. And you can adjust the opacity of your, what do you call it? The opacity, I just have to click on the layer. So clicking the box is not enough, but you actually have to click on the layer. You can adjust the angle of that drop shadow. So depending on where your light source is, you can change it around a little bit. You can change the distance of that drop shadow so it looks like it's higher or lower, which is also kind of fun to do. Spread of that drop shadow is bigger or smaller, and the size, right, bigger or smaller like that. So that's just sort of kind of a fun one to do. And then I just did it to some of these others. So black, double click on the right hand side here. You can just see how some of these effects are going to be different. I obviously don't see the black stroke on top of that one, but I could stroke it with a different color like red. There we go. And you can sort of see that stroke there on the outside. Bevel and emboss does a little bit to it. Inner shadow, not so much because it's black. Inner glow works, though, to bring that yellow in a little bit. Drop shadow doesn't work as well, you can see on that black letters, as it does on the white letters, like so. Outer glow, it sort of clears up the yellow on this side. It's so bright over here that you don't see it, but it's sort of see it progressively like that. And then we have our gray layer here. So this one as well. Again, inner glow, nice that 3D look to it. Stroke it with another color. Outer glow. Drop shadow, you know, pretty nice over here, so you can sort of see that sort of thing. So those are 3 different things you can do with your text like that. There are 3 different texts there, different colors. Again, using this drop-down menu, you can try some different ones here. The last thing you could also do is the opacity of your layer. So let's say, let's turn these guys off for now. Let's say I wanted yellow to sort of fade away a little bit. If I click on the white one here, and I start to bring down my opacity a little bit, I make it more transparent like so. All right, so that's also kind of a fun thing to do, or maybe with that black. Oh, I got to click on the layer. So that's one thing you got to make sure you're doing. So I'm making them appear and disappear with these eyeballs, but I'm also making sure I'm selecting the right layer so that it's light gray when I do it here. There we go. So I can sort of see that pop right through there like so. All right, that's all you got to do. Good luck.